Good. Want to point out an issue that some of our D72 users have been having. Uh, Apparently, a lot of our customers in the UK have been unable to register D72 recently. It looks to be because British Telecom is blocking is it cloud.d72.com, and so far the solution has been to use other DNS servers other than the British Telecom DNS servers. So we've been recommending using Google Open DNS servers, which are 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4 instead of the British Telecom DNS servers. It has resolved it in a number of issues, in a number of situations. And if you need help changing your DNS servers, here's a link. Oh, oh yeah, my audio is not set right. It should be working now. Sorry.
It was working when we started.
I don't know how.
All right. Well, weird. Sorry about that, everyone. Apparently, read that blog post because there are some issues with the British Telecom. Y'all heard Proctor at least, I guess. I swore I heard Michael, but maybe I was just thinking Proctor. Um. Anyway, oh well. I think we got that out. Um. Michael, did you want to talk about what you found?
Sure. Interestingly enough, I woke up this morning and realized that my laptop had downloaded the anniversary update, which I'm sure a lot of you have started to see roll through for you. And one of the first things that popped up and caught my eye was Defender. Now, I noticed that they had changed the icon, and that probably immediately jumps out for everyone. So that's not a big deal, but more importantly, it's some of the phrasing that they used with the application when you actually go into the settings and when you first open up Windows Defender on the computers on a anniversary update machine. So what happens when you open it up is it tells you that it's I don't have the screen in front of me, but it basically shows you that it says it's an antivirus. It's an included Microsoft approved antivirus. And they're no longer giving you the notifications. Remember, they updated the Action Center. They're no longer giving you or suggesting that you add additional. Before, it used to just be that Windows Defender reported itself to Windows as a malware tool, not specifically antivirus. And now it appears as if it is getting detected as an antivirus, and they're also advertising the cloud scanning abilities of this. Now, there have been submissions before and things like that, but now they're apparently actually doing a cloud scan of it to some extent, or at least that's the implication. That seems to be a stark change from their previous stance, whereas they still generally recommended third-party antivirus. So not sure what's going on with that, on what they're officially saying. I haven't really done many searches or seen any other articles relating to it, but if anybody has any information on it, yeah, and I've gone so far as to, I've been very impressed with how Defender has worked for me in all my research, and I do a fair little bit of just like today, I was downloading all sorts of malware samples from kernelmode.info and also from VirusShare and some other places, hash definitions. And these things, I was doing some testing, some of definitions we're looking into, and I'm finding that all of these samples, regardless of whether or not it matches the definitions that I'm coming up against, I'm testing, they're all being caught by Defender. I have to constantly turn it off, and it's found every sample that I've thrown at it, including samples that were submitted as recently as less than a month ago, and I haven't seen any samples today, but of something 0 day. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did pretty good. And I don't know if any of you have any better recommendations, but I feel like at least for every home user out there, that's probably one of the better choices for.
Yeah, and we were actually saying that we've done a lot of testing with various ransomware and malware samples for our D72 removal stuff and examples, and then also for Crypto Prevent especially. And a lot of the times when we're doing testing, we forget to turn off Security Essentials or Windows Defender, and it almost, I would say 90% of the time, removes the file that we're investigating because someone's brought it up to us. Yeah. And we're like, how did they get infected if Windows Defender or Microsoft Security Essentials is catching it? Like, two free things that come almost built into the OS.
Microsoft really started deprecating Windows Defender after, or Microsoft Security Essentials after Windows 7, as we know. It did not include it with Windows 8, and they took a back seat, at that time. It would again appear as if that stance has changed, and I think I would go so far as to say, like, this is the this is the comeback of Security Essentials.
I think it's too that like you were saying, I'm wondering what the status is of the relationship between Microsoft and AV companies.
I don't know.
They changed the kernel mode drivers, so only approved Microsoft people.
That's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
Kernel mode. So I mean, that might have just cut off some AVs just straight right off the bat.
It may have.
And then now they're basically saying you don't need antivirus anymore. You can just use Defender. So. When that's true, a lot of files do fail on the dropper file. It's the actual malicious file that they normally try to attack anyway. That's true, Eric. Very true as well. Well, something completely different here. So you may have remembered or heard about that star that they discovered that's like dimming for unknown reasons.
Yeah, I
It
thought
might be
that a little.
like a alien megastructure, like the Dyson
I
sphere.
thought that was disproved, but
Well, no, they say they don't see any they don't see any signs of alien activity or it being something of that nature. However, they still don't know why it's dimming like that, and on a regular basis, like almost if something is orbiting around it. But now they released another study that talks about the star has actually been losing light power over the past 1,000 years or so. So like the star's power has slowly been shrinking over time, an enormous amount that's not like any other star that's out there. As if even something may be sucking power out of the sun and using it for
you
their
think this might be our first direct evidence of
I was thinking as I was reading the article, I was like, man, that would be the way that we'd find aliens, by like just randomly looking up in the sky and then someone noticing something quirky just like out of the corner of their eye. Like it's like a trillion to bazillion chance that we would ever see that. And then to the point that we would even go on to say, hey, that looks weird. Hey, we actually already have a theory that could explain this if a alien super civilization. What's the one when they reach Dyson sphere? It's like a phase 3 or something population.
I,
What's it called?
yeah, it's phase. Yeah, it's a later phase. Beyond us. Beyond us.
Phase 3 civilization. I forget what the standard for that is called.
What are you reading with all this terminology? Now, all of a sudden, the sci-fi terminology.
No, I knew all of that stuff. I knew about the Dyson sphere long before they even found that star.
Yeah,
that's interesting stuff, man.
Dyson spheres have been discussed since the 90s, I believe, if not possibly earlier.
But yeah, I think that would be like the way that we would find them, is by an off chance, and like it's like a trillion to 1 chance that we would see it, and then also know what it's doing and why it's doing it, and then eventually people will be interested enough to actually like find out that it is actually that. Because I mean, they're obviously not going to stop researching it. They're still...
So yeah. I'm sorry, I just want to go back to the Defender thing. There's a lot of articles here that just casually mention some of the improvements in Defender, but they don't really explain much of anything in detail and really kind of gloss over it. I'm a little that's interesting as well. I wonder if Microsoft deliberately isn't overly advertising it, but I don't understand why people don't notice. This happened immediately when I turned on the computer. It had that new icon in the corner. What do you do when you see a new icon? You're like, oh, what is this? Click on it, and that's when it popped up that screen. So please, if somebody else out there could confirm that they're seeing the same thing. I am running a pro version of Windows. So basically, right after the anniversary update, my computer rebooted. I saw the new Defender icon in the corner on the sys tray. It looks like a shield. Very much.
Oh, you actually opened it? Yeah, I got it here. Here. I got it. I'll
share the screen, or yeah.
Proctor, getting ready to share a screen here.
I thought there was a way I could force that back up, but
let's see if we can do some zooming on that, because I'm sure that's going to be small.
Your free antivirus, so they're specifically calling it an antivirus, recommended by Microsoft. That's almost sounding like they're recommending it above and beyond third-party AV. And then look at what they say under protection updates. They're specifically talking about cloud protection. Now, this could just be a sort of a rebranding of the sample submission and not really be a technological improvement. But the way they're throwing around the terminology, right? I mean, I'm not crazy, right? I mean, it clearly sounds like they're changing their stance on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm seeing.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I was upset that I couldn't bring it back up, but
You have to turn it on, though. That's a good point.
actually, no. The text of it actually indicates that it may already be on. Select turn on, and we'll turn on these settings for you, or close this dialog to keep your current settings. It doesn't necessarily imply that it may already be on, I think.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's what I was thinking. And actually, the window looks exactly like Security Essentials.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
And they did have that stuff in there, the cloud-based. So this is even in 8. I'm almost positive that cloud-based protection's in 8 even. And
yeah, you're probably right. So that's probably nothing new with that. But
I'm pretty sure it's in Security Essentials as well.
I just don't remember that specific verbiage, but maybe I'm mistaken. That could be.
I changed it back, Proctor.
Still think that that this is clearly pointing to a stance change on their part, and I would. I mean, again, I want more not less subjective, more objective feedback on it. See if you have any clients out there with it, and see what their experiences has been. And I guess it might be hard to compare because the anniversary update just came out, so this will probably take some time to gather this data. But it's worth investigating. I'm betting that that it's really just a verbiage change, that it's really not much under the back end as maybe gone on. That being the case, then maybe Defender was a lot more capable already, you know. That could be another thing, and maybe they've just now gotten the confidence level and gotten to the point maybe with dissatisfaction with their AV partners. Maybe.
Well, I think it'll be great going forward. Eric, that is a good possibility, but I would think that we would probably notice if one of the planets was shooting light out and destroying other planets. Like, probably would have caught that. The Force Awakens. Has everyone seen that, right?
Yeah. The weapon.
What? The Force Awakens, the thing in the Death Star in that. Oh, you haven't seen it. Well, it's not a big deal. It's not a spoiler. The Death Star in that, it sucks energy from its local sun and then shoots out. So it's like the precursor to having a full-on Death Star. It's a Death Star built into a planet. But yeah, Eric, that's what I'm thinking. Like, if it's out there destroying other planets, we probably would have picked up on that pretty quickly.
We're still only just detecting, planets now, so extra solar.
There's so many laws of physics that weapon in the Force Awakens, ignores.
Yeah. And things like orbits.
Yeah.
Planet rotations. Like, you have to wait until a certain time of day to fire your weapon off.
Well,
or to recharge it, I guess.
It might not be as damning. Listen, just because you blow something up, the mass is still effectively there. It's just now in a whole bunch of little pieces.
No, it's not talking. No, he's not. No, that's completely feasible. You can definitely destroy a planet.
Yeah.
We're talking about the ability of the. So in the Force Awakens, it's a Death Star, right?
Yeah.
So the Death Star has everything internalized, and it's all a self-contained.
Yeah, there wasn't that scene where they drained it out of the whatever.
The first one was a planet that they converted into a Death Star, and it drained the sun's energy. And it's like, pulling energy from the sun across a distance like that is insane. B,
it doesn't work like that. You don't just, it's not like a vacuum cleaner. You just take up there and just start sucking up what you need.
And then B,
it's very simple.
It's like the rotation and orbit stuff. I guess the orbit path wouldn't really matter that much. But the planet's rotation, it has to be pointed at the sun to recharge. It can't it's like you can only recharge once a day, and you better hope you recharge fully because you'll have to wait till tomorrow to keep going.
Well, I mean, you could. There may be. It's more for the movie. I don't think was trying. Star Wars has never focused on the technology behind what they do. They've been very light on that.
Well, I'm even giving them the fact that they could theoretically just grab stuff from the sun with their tractor beam technology, but still, what are you going to do with a whole bunch of molten sun matter?
Well, okay, but that in and of itself, having plasma...
If you move that much mass or energy, there's going to be repercussions.
It's solar energy. Okay, so listen, they're trying to gain energy, I guess, to power some sort of destructive force, okay? Collecting the sun's physical material doesn't do anything to accomplish that. Getting solar power does. Maybe some sort of plasma energy source might, but it definitely wouldn't work in the way that they're depicting it in that movie. You don't just go up and take a spoon of the sun and have, some magical ability now. It's just
that was definitely the only part that was unbelievable about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that whole Force thing. That's just the Metachlorians and all that. That's just I think we need to not the sci-fi. Don't do the hardcore sci-fi criticism of it because they just never positioned it in that light. I don't think if it is Star Trek, it could be easier to do.
Talking about that, I just came across this. Someone built a working Speederbike out of a motorcycle. So, like when he pulls up beside you, he's riding a freaking Speederbike, like on Star Wars.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah, Return of the Jedi. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's Return of the Jedi. Yeah, it's on.
It's one of those Star movies.
Yeah.
The Warry one, not the Trekkie one.
Yep. By the way, I was not very impressed with the latest Star Trek movie.
I've not been impressed with anything Star Trek since they got like young blood in there, several years ago now. I guess I just don't care about it. You know what? I was really disappointed when they got Quantum Leap, dude. I loved that show, and I just didn't care for that. Dude, I don't know. I don't watch any of it anymore, and I used to be the big Trek guy.
Yeah.
I went back and watched Enterprise, and it wasn't that bad when I revisited it.
That was
the first time it was on the air.
Wasn't that good either.
I didn't watch it. Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was as truly as good as the other ones.
It was always like the same old stories rehashed and concepts. Anyway.
I was able to get into it though. It wasn't that bad. But it did rub me the wrong way at first. But I think I was just like usual. We get coming off of the TNG high and stuff like that. It was very hard to adjust to that. And there were so many of those going on concurrently with TNG too. In the case of the Deep Space Nine, and just about with Voyager overlap. So, but I don't know. I like the first two young remix ones. They were good. I thought it would be great to bring it to a younger generation. I was a big Trekkie, and I like it from that sense, but the storyline is what I think they just they had the formula, but they failed to do a good story, and this is what resulted. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
I liked the new I liked the new Kirk and the cast from there. I like that, and I like
the cast,
that they've made so far. But this most recent one was a disappointer. So.
Yeah, I'm upset to hear you say that, because if you had the same impression I had of the first two and still have that outlook on the third one, then might be in the same boat. But time will tell. I'll probably see it in the coming weeks. So.
Isn't it about time, though, they do something new and move on past the timeline that they've been hanging around for the past however many years?
Well, yeah, like move on to completely new stories. Again, this is something that doesn't hold for Star Trek or Star Wars or anything like that. But I'm tired of rehashing all stories. I'm tired of doing, prequels that are basically the same movie, just slightly different younger characters. None of that stuff is new to me.
I hate that.
So few truly new stories. I'd almost, and I was arguing this the other day, video games. If you want new content, you're more likely to find it in a video game these days than you are in a movie. The sequels and crap, that's just ruined a lot of things. Now, there's still some good movies that get put out. Don't get me wrong, but it's just you got, like so much of everything else these days, you got to deal through so much, wade through so much crap to get to the good content. My theory of information overload, like I was thinking I almost wanted to go so far as to say I have access to less information today than I did in the 80s, but that's not true. I have access to way more information. It's just that I have access to less valuable information today than I have. I'm overwhelmed with information from every corner, every place that I look, but so much of that information is crap. When I was able to look for information a few decades ago, it was far more easier to find reliable information, reliable sourcing. Can't be done today, and it's sad that it's 2016.
I thought this was pretty interesting. Someone built a QR code generator for their phone that lets you into the airport lounges. So like those premium airport lounges that you can't get into without a proper boarding pass or club membership or something, that will generate a QR code that will let you into it.
The QR code hack, yeah, I saw that. That was that's interesting, but it couldn't. I mean, what was this? Couldn't this always have been done? I mean, why is this so? Why they think? I mean, why is it so surprising? I mean, anybody could encrypt a QR code that they could. Like for instance, at a school that I attended, there was a QR code on their a monument.
No, this is like your entrance ticket, a QR code for you specifically that lets you into a lounge or something. Not
Yeah,
just like a
same.
QR code that's on a wall.
Oh, okay, but I mean, it's the same concept, isn't it?
The QR code is. But
well, I mean, but you don't know. I mean, in other words, I can't authenticate what I'm going to go up to that monument. I'm going to scan it, just hoping that it takes me to the right place. But let's say the person who put it there, had it tied to another a URL that was malicious. Let's say. And it's all it does is link a picture to a.
I'm saying this guy created something that generates QR codes to let you into places. So they're looking for specific QR codes based on username, password, whatever.
Okay.
He created a QR code that lets him in anywhere.
Okay, I gotcha. My bad. That's a different. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. This was also interesting. Apparently, there's a mine in Siberia that they found some interesting materials. They closely resemble stuff that has been grown in the lab, but they weren't thought to exist in nature at all. And apparently, we found it in the ground. And they haven't found this in the ground before, obviously.
It's interesting. We still haven't found things that are just right beneath our feet in some cases, and so, maybe I should be more optimistic about what we might find. Maybe we'll dig up dilithium one of these days, right? Dilithium crystals.
This is cool too. See if you like searching for new music or having other people search for you and it being presented to you. Spotify has a release radar that finds new music from your favorite artists. So that was pretty cool. I don't use Spotify a lot, but I've used it before and it was all right. What else do we got? Oh, Amazon's making it easier to build audio adventure games for the Echo. That would be fun, just yelling in your living room though, the whole evening. Having all your kids there, it randomly asking you trivia questions, maybe.
You want drone footage of the day? I don't really care so much about Amazon Echo, but adventure game builder? I don't know. Is that just another way for them to capture more audio data, I guess? But anyway, there's a Iron Skies all over again. Did you like that movie, Quark? Did you watch it? I don't think I've actually. I started watching it one night, but I think I passed out. I didn't end up finishing it. But it was an interesting start, as I recall. Start to it.
I don't know if I've seen that or
not. But at any rate, this the video I posted. It looks like it's drone footage of Apple's new spaceship campus. That thing is huge, and that's a crazy structure, circular structure. It's wild. So if you're interested in drones or Apple, you might want to take a look. No, that's it, I guess. I don't know. I had a few other things, I think. There's rumors that AMD might be making an announcement of, because of the 480 was a relatively poor launch for them, with all the criticisms that I had mentioned in the past. They're looking to launch a 490. It's a little bit unclear what that product is going to be, but it was not announced today. Some people were thinking it would be, but they just showed us some VR equipment powered by some of their stuff, but nothing, no new chips. Did I ever post that thing about the did we talk about this already? The hackers with the stealing the 30 Jeeps and Dodges using a laptop. Did we ever talk about all that? Oh, okay. So I saw this video. This was a story that I posted. I believe I think it's the same story. So the cops caught. Okay, so the news update is that the cops caught up with the thieves, but they weren't able to catch them until they did 30 vehicles that way. That's a pretty impressive run. So there's all the links associated with that. We were arguing that might set precedents, or change people's minds about the security of their newer vehicles, and I think it's happening. Crazy.
Well, one of those northern states, Michigan or Wisconsin or something, banned security testing like that.
Yeah, the banning testing, that's always been the argument of the white hats, and stuff, that's just gonna basically make us less secure. And so I'm not in agreement with that. You were talking about banning. I thought you were almost thought you were going to talk about we did mention the Pennsylvania put up a tax on Pokemon. Did you guys talk about that yesterday?
No.
So yeah, there's a tax on Pokemon. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, same thing with. Oh, that is something else. You remember how you brought up the Pokemon Go, or maybe I brought up it. We were talking about the Pokemon Go in New York and the sex offenders.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a second law, because apparently they realized that was retarded and there's no way to enforce that. That's going to require Niantic to remove any Pokemon stops within whatever distance they decide of a sex offender. And the reasoning for it is not to keep kids away from the sex offenders, but to keep the sex offenders, give the sex offenders less of a reason to play by having a Pokestop right next door or something like that.
What? That's a little backward thinking.
Yeah, but think about that first. They're making a bill.
How are our lawmakers idiots? Are
Well,
they
no,
just
but-
brain dead idiots?
That's what I'm saying. Think about this. They're making a bill for an augmented reality game that spans the globe, and they're going to make it so that they have to remove augmented reality things from within the game. So that means Niantic is going to have to search all of their locations and cross-reference them with a list, hopefully provided by the place that's going to be banning it, but maybe not. And then remove each of those that qualifies. Which, if they do something like within a mile or within 10 miles of a sex offender, that's likely to remove all of the augmented reality stuff in any major city or area, because there's sex offenders living everywhere. So,
Well, I
And
hope
I think there's like
not that
15 to
prevalent,
20
but-
within a mile of my house.
Oh, really? Okay, well then maybe you're right. Okay. So wow.
so yeah, that's gonna. I mean, first, that's crazy that they're making a company remove something that's an augmented reality, so it's not even real. Like, they're making them remove it, and then B,
they need to remove. I could see them though removing them from places that could potentially possibly draw. I mean, I would almost think it would be more understandable to like block them from putting them in a school or block them from putting them
they
in
are.
playgrounds or
They are.
stuff like that. But around
Well, they're blocked from being put in schools. They are in playgrounds because there's art and stuff like that around playgrounds. But
okay, well
they're
then.
not allowed
See,
to be.
but that would almost be more effective than blocking it around the pervert's place, you know, right? I mean, I would think that would be.
Well, no, then so you're blocking them at the
You
park.
would just leave
That's
and
like-
go farther out to.
No, blocking them at the park though. That's like 90% of the fun is that you go to the park for
Public
the
park, yeah.
and walk around and play
Sure.
your game. So
Sure.
it's crazy. I don't know what's going to happen from that, but I surely hope that Niantic appeals it, because it's going to be sad for New York if they kill Pokemon Go based on that. That's very true, Eric. Very true. I thought this was awesome. Did anyone ever play the original Prey game?
Yes, I did. I
They're
actually
coming out
like
with a
that. I
remake
like that.
for it.
No, they're not. That's nowhere. That's like a sequel. They just called it Player. It has nothing to do with the
It's a
original. From what I
reboot.
understand, a reboot. From what I understand, it has nothing to do with the original. The original had a very unique storyline with a sort of a Native American background to it, and I really like the feel of the game. I normally don't go for that type of thing, but they did it really, really well. And I don't play a lot of those shooters like that, but this was
They
a
are
single-player story that was super strong. I never played it multiplayer, just single player. And this new one is mostly multiplayer, from what I understand, and it just doesn't have a good story, and it's totally unrelated. There's no mention at all of Prey in the game or anything, other than maybe an unrelated something or another.
I mean, they say they reimagined the franchise from the ground up. So
Why did they
they're
again?
also-
Why did they just call it something else? I mean, you know, I call it something else. It doesn't deserve that. If you've played the original, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, it may
has
be
none of those
based, but
concepts.
You haven't played it yet. so
You walked in a spirit world, okay? And you would.
Michael, you haven't played the game. I know for a fact because they've only revealed it previews at E3. So you haven't played. You don't know if the game is anything like the old Prey.
I've heard some stories about it, and you're right. I haven't played it, but I
And
have
nobody else has played it. So unless you've heard some stories from the developers specifically, who basically are saying, "Yeah, we built a whole new game and just called it Prey," then I don't believe it. So
Hey guys, I thought it was fun to go down memory lane and flip through an early edition of PC Magazine from I think it was 86. I think it's PC Magazine from 1986. I was just curious, looking through that, if you looked at if there's several hard drive vendors selling hard drive kits for computers, and I'm looking here at this particular advertisement here. 10 meg hard drive, $399, 10 megabytes. 20 megabytes, $419, 30 megabytes, $575, and that's right above a Turbo PC XT for $1,545. Wow, a lot has changed. Lot has changed.
Mm-hmm. Nick, get ready to know what YOLO means, because Google is taking it on. Apparently, they're going to make a new project called Open YOLO, which is going to allow your apps to be able to access your accounts without needing your credentials or anything. So it's they partnered with a password management service, Dashline. So it'll be interesting. But in this case, instead of you only live once, it stands for you only log in once. Nice twist. Good job, Google. Eric, they're not. It's going to be built into Android, so YOLO is never going to die from common vernacular. In fact, I can see more people just talking in YOLO. I might finish out the rest of the show after this point. YOLO. YOLO, YOLO, YOLO. Yeah. Wow, that's really hard to say over and over again. How many times can you say YOLO?
None. I can say it no times at all.
Oh, that's awesome. Someone built a hydroelectric generator to charge their phone. A DIY hydroelectric generator? That's freaking awesome. And it powers a cell phone. That is a good skill to have.
Dude, really, check through that magazine. Oh my God, these were the best magazines. I wish magazines existed like they existed back then. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to reading an article reviewing EGA graphics adapters, EGA, prior to VGA, the original VGA. Amazing. And I'm actually looking forward to reading this in 2016. Would I ever pick up a computer magazine today and consider reading any of its articles? And the answer to that is no. It's really sad that we've lost these types of things. And if you look at the number of pages, look at the number of pages it was. 346 pages. How many total pages? This is what page I'm on. But those things don't exist anymore. I mean, Computer Shopper was up there in the number of pages too. I'm so sad those things are all gone now. And look at the advertisements in these. This is crazy to see what they were selling and stuff. But
is that drone footage you showed, the Apple spaceship construction?
Yes, it was.
That does look pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought I like that site that I get those videos off of. They usually were pretty good quality videos, and they're big drone fans too. So.
Holy crap! Who needs a new pair of sunglasses? Because Nike's got some that you don't want to buy.
What was this Glenn's question here? I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted a minute ago.
Other than changing a user's MS account password, what built-in app in Windows 10 will give you the Apple lost stolen phone result? I have no idea.
You go to a web page to search for your phone with Apple stuff, and don't you go to their I don't know. I don't use Apple products, but they've got some Find My Phone or something like that. Don't they have a whole domain that's just for finding Apple phone?
Find My iPhone. It's website and app for iOS.
Well, it's almost like he phrased it like a trivia question that he's going to tell us the answer to in a second.
Yeah.
Oh, for you history science fans, Futures Tech, Eric posts a Major Geeks article. If you're driving a Tesla and it gets stolen, it's now called an Edison. Oh, gotta love it. Thank you for
That's
that.
pretty good.
Gotta love it, especially if you know the history behind that, and seen some of those movies we've mentioned, the American side, and the one I'm a little bit more enamored with. What was it called? The denouement. No. When the stage actors of what is that called? You know what I'm talking about, Brantley. We've talked about this. That movie with Tesla where we played Tesla. We talked about this.
Oh, American side?
No, that's the one you told me about. The Prestige.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Prestige. No, Michael, this is Windows 10. Yeah, I understand. You can search. You can open up a web browser in Windows 10, right?
Well, no, Apple wouldn't require ActiveX controls. I don't know. I don't know of any built-in program that ever tracked iPhone stuff.
Yeah, why would Microsoft ever do that?
Well, no, I wouldn't believe that Apple would allow that, honestly.
Apple wouldn't, Microsoft wouldn't. I would think it's in nobody's interest to do something like that. It's just all the ones I've seen are just web pages that app, what Proctor said. I feel like I'm missing something here, Glenn. I feel like I'm missing something. Let's see. What else?
Oh, well, here, I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, okay, there was we were having a run on physics stories, but there was an interesting one. I think there was some reports about some particles from CERN and more new particles from CERN. They've discovered quite a few, but that doesn't look to have panned out. So I just wanted to throw that up there. Nothing really big, but just. And then there's this other article that I thought was about the future of Windows 10. It looks like they're going to have 2 big updates next year for Windows 10 as well. Those are the ones that are planned. So at least looks like at least 2 big updates a year from Microsoft. That's a pretty rapid pace of development for them.
The iPhone has an app that you can disable it remotely if you.
Wait! I think we're thinking about this reverse. He's not trying to access the Apple lost stolen phone thing.
Trying to disable a Windows 10 PC.
Well, I thought he was trying. He's looking for something that will provide the same feature, and that would be Prey. If that's what you're looking for, that's a program that would do it.
What Prey? We're not talking about the game anymore, right? Yeah. Okay. If you have a link for that, but there are of course apps that you can put on your Android phone to accomplish this. But Windows 10 PC, I don't think Microsoft has anything like that. I don't think anything like that comes with Windows. But there are applications that will do it. I'm not familiar with any. There we go. PreyProject.com.
No, he's talking about some. Glenn, link us to whatever research you're looking at so we can have more of an idea of what you're talking about, because we have no idea. Okay, well maybe that'll work. That is an app that will do that, and it is highly regarded. I was even watching a DEF CON where somebody had that on, and that's how they got their computer back. So, and no worries. It's sometimes hard to chat to live, so, and that's on us more because we didn't understand the question. Anyway, you want a bad taste in your mouth? Watch that video.
No. Why would we want that?
Tastes like omelets. And then I thought this was cool just because it gave me the idea to go out and buy a toy sword and just set it on fire and then take some awesome video. Proctor, does your business mate repair jukeboxes as well?
Yes.
Awesome, because here's the look into the life of a jukebox repairman. Some pretty cool stuff if you like tube amps and things like that. You want to watch people from the sky like the FBI did? Well, they've released 18 hours of spy plane video from the Freddie Gray protest. So you can just watch people standing around or protesting or...
Well, they released it? They released all that? That's good. I like to see what they're looking at sometimes. But, I mean, I'm assuming this doesn't show us any additional information about the... Oh, no, this was just during the protest, right? This was not during the actual event. No. Okay, because that would be interesting if they happened to have a drone that day above that area.
That would be the best route, Glenn, having something like that on there, but you do have the security concerns of that as well, so keep that in mind. Again, that Prey project has been highly, highly regarded and works on phones, tablets, laptops, desktops, and extremely good. It'll take pictures, send you stuff. Excellent, excellent project there, and all free. You can't beat that. This is pretty awesome. Valve is or Vive is open sourcing its room tracker stuff. So like the 3D spacing, tracking, mapping, room scale stuff, they've opened it up. Or maybe I'm reading that backwards. Maybe it's Valve opened it up. Yeah. No. HTC opened it and Valve is letting them in. Anyway, so cool that some of that technology is coming out. I'm really excited about that kind of stuff building up because how awesome would it be to be able to like walk in a room and it scans the whole room and knows where things are and can identify things. That'd be pretty awesome. Wasn't Borat from Kazakhstan?
Borat?
Yeah, Borat. Wasn't he from Kazakhstan?
No.
Yeah, that's Kazakhstan. Yeah.
Where was he
Yes,
from?
Michael. Kazakhstan.
I thought it was a made-up country.
No. That's why it was funny, because it was a real country.
Oh my goodness, Michael, you are... Oh gosh.
At least you didn't.
So much.
At least you didn't think the movie was real. That's a plus. This guy Borat, man. I have to visit him sometime. Apparently, the government of Kazakhstan has had malware linked to them, which targets journalists, political activists, lawyers, and other dissenters, I would imagine. So,
Durka.
Durka.
Now Michael's
America.
Yeah. Like, you know, the world that exists around them.
Yeah, he's Wow, there's
Oh.
countries.
Check it. Western Digital's got a 10 gig gold, yet another color HDD, and that's their helium-filled variety. That's gonna be tough to imagine.
Oh man, this thing is freaking awesome.
It's $850. Wow.
No, not that. This.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Go away.
A art exhibit that's traveling around the world. It's currently at Tokyo. Is a crystalline or crystal universe, and you walk in and like the whole place is just all decked out in lights and stuff. It's kind of like stepping out into infinity. It looks like infinity. It's pretty crazy. That would be awesome to visit. And sad news for the internet, the Olympics have banned GIFs. The press cannot release GIFs of the internet.
GIFs. I don't want to have that argument again.
It's a GIF.
I don't GIF up. What? Bryce over at TechNibble had a interesting read, and it may be kind of a rehash one, but because I feel like I've seen this before on TechNibble, but right ways to set pricing based on your competition, and in the first paragraph, he pretty much points out, second paragraph, that a lot of businesses don't take into consideration competitors from like Craigslist or your backyard techs or pizza techs or whatever they call them. While that may be a case, it is something that you still have to consider because they are still out there and people will still venture to them. So, Future Tech Quark found something for you, Michael.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of science.
Oh. Uh-oh. I've seen some of these things, but yes, thank you. Let's see. Oh, really? A lot of people are fascinated by this topic. I mean, because the likelihood of something like this happening to somebody is so infinitesimally small. I mean, you would never be able to get to the black hole probably to do something like this with our current technology. So, I don't think anybody really has to worry about what will happen in this sort of circumstance. No. And that's why, I mean, it's weird. It's just weird that people are fascinated by what will happen when this is not going to happen to anybody, probably ever.
Sorry. Science. It's actually in our promo. If you've watched that. Science.
Enhance.
All right. Well, it is reaching our hour time limit, so we'll probably go ahead and wrap her up here for today and get a start on the weekend. But one last link here. Oh, actually, yeah, Nick, why don't you talk about what you just posted there? Been working on that, so you're muted.
Myself, I'm sorry. I threw up a link to the tech info page that we used to have on foolishit.com a long time ago, and well, it's not the same page, but I've started recreating it a little bit today because the other link from that is the network boot guide, which was discussed a little bit yesterday, and someone had asked about that, and we mentioned it a little bit. And so I found all of the pages from the network boot guide, and I went through them painstakingly today and cleaned them up a little bit. And like we went through some like theme conversions or something in the WordPress site, and It removed every backslash from every bit of syntax that should have been there. And let me tell you, it was not easy to read or figure out without that. So I went through and cleaned all that up, and there it is. It was still created in 2012, so some things may have changed, but should be a lot easier to follow now.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad we got that back up there. That's
where-
an awesome picture.
Okay, the boot camp.
Eric. No one ever does ask how Waldo is. I only want to know where he is.
Yeah.
How's Waldo?
I got one last link for us too to wrap her up for today. NASA celebrates Curiosity's 4th year on Mars with a game available for desktops, Androids, and iOS devices. So
Ooh.
if you want to play something curious, check that out. It's and honestly, I was reading this news earlier, and I was like, man, that's actually really freaking awesome that we have a robot on another planet for the past 4 years just wandering around. Like,
Oh yeah.
like, just think about that for a second. Like, that's amazing. Like, we can't even get our cars to wander around by themselves properly for less than a year. Tesla. Anyway, so all right, we'll wrap her up for tonight. Everyone, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to have all of you here and interact
Appreciate
with
it,
us.
everyone.
And
Yep.
we will be back Monday morning at 8 a.m. So definitely, if you have any questions about our products or services, we're always happy to discuss those first and foremost.
And it's Friday.
Yeah,
Enjoy yourselves.
there you go.
The habanero. Habanero.
Take us on out, Proctor.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
we'll catch you bright and early.